Today I'm going to discuss about array and some of the features of array. To start with, for the definition, I covered the definition of array in my last video. I'm going to just put the section of the definition right here. An array is a collection of items defined in a single variable. So what does that mean? Usually so far what we have used is when we declare that int count is equal to 5, it is a singular declaration, meaning the count is pointing to a value, the count variable is pointing to a value of 5, which is a singular number. Similarly, if we declare string name is equal to first, let's say. Here also the name is a variable which is pointing to a singular value string called first. But in case of array, single variable is going to point to a collection of items. So it also means that in an array we can store multiple values of a type. For example, in case of an integer, multiple numbers into a single variable or multiple string into a single variable based on what type of array we are going to declare. Now, an array is declared with two square brackets after the type to define an array. For example, if we have to define an array of integer, we are going to say int, then a square bracket, and then we can say items. And then inside of curly braces, we can declare the items. Now here I declared empty curly braces, means this array does not have any element at this point in time. Now if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now this array is going to have 5 elements and the value of the individual items inside of this array is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, we can declare a string array called names, and for the string array we can also keep it empty, which is an empty array, or we can declare it with first, second, third. Let's say 3 different strings which are part of the string array. Now that we understand what an array is, let us go through some of the properties and features of an array. And once we discuss that, the next thing we're going to discuss is multidimensional arrays. So these items or the names, these are arrays of integer and arrays of string respectively, but they are single dimensional array. So first we'll discuss about single dimensional array. So couple of features of array is, first of all, if we want to know the length of an array, we can do system.out.println. And for the length, what we can do is, for example, if we want to print the length of the items array, we can do items.length, and it is going to print the length of items. Similarly, if we want to do the same for the names, we can do names.length, and then if we compile and run this application, we should see 5 and 3 in the answer respectively. And we can see, as expected, 5 and 3. The next thing is, if we want to access an item directly from this array, we can use the index of this item to access, and index always starts from 0. So for example, the index of this number 1 is 0, index of 2 is 1, 3 is 2, and so on and so forth. Similarly, index of first is 0, second is 1, third is 2. So if we just do items of 2, this is going to print 3. And similarly, if we do names of 0, it is going to print the first. So let's quickly compile and run. And we can see 3 and first as expected. So this is about the length and how to access an item with index. The next thing we are going to talk about default values of arrays. So for example, here for items we declared is as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead, if we just declared as new int, and we declare it as 5. So we are saying we are going to create an array of 5 int, but we are not specifying the value. In that case, if we just print items, we will see the default values of the item. And for the time being, let me comment it out. But if we just print the items as is, it is not going to print the expected behavior. It is going to print some junk, and we'll fix that. So first let me show it print this way. And you can see it prints some junk here because this doesn't support the toString. So for that, what we have to do is we have to use the class arrays here. And the arrays class is part of java.utils, and this class contains various methods for manipulating arrays. So we are going to talk about some of the methods of arrays also in this video. So first let's start with arrays.toString, and here we can pass items, and let's get rid of this. Now if we compile and run, we will see the default values of item array, which is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Because it's an integer, the default values are 0. Similarly for names, if we change it to new string and give 3, it is going to print the, and if we print the names here, it is going to print the default values of string, which is going to be null because string is a reference type. So it is going to print the default values of string, which is going to be null. And we can see here null, null, null as expected. So this is about assigning default values to an array using this construct type where we have not declared any items to it. Now that we introduced arrays, let's see a couple of features of arrays which are very useful. For example, if we want to fill these array items with a value which is non-default, what we can do is here we can do arrays.fill, and we can pass items as the first argument, which is what array we want to fill, and then a value which we want it to fill with, and for that we can give 5 here. And now if we print items, instead of seeing 0 5 times, we are going to see 5 times right now. And as you can see, we can see 5 here 5 times as expected. The next feature of arrays that we want to discuss is equality operator, which is comparing two arrays. So for that, let's declare another int array. So the int array items is now exactly same as items 2. Both of them has 5 as their value, and both of them has a length of 5. So now here, if we just compare both the arrays, and for that we use equals, and we give items comma items 2, and if we compile and run this, we're going to see true because both of them are same. But if I just change the number of items from 5 to 4 in one of them, it's going to change the response and it is going to become as false. Similarly, if I keep 5 items but the fifth one is 4, or any of the item here is 4, this will also going to print out false, as you can see. So this is another very useful method from arrays is equals. The other one we can use is sort. So let's say we declare this as 3 2 1 5, and we want to sort the items. So what we can do is we can do arrays.sort, and we can pass items 2 here. So this is going to sort the item 2, and then here now if we just do again toString and print just item 2, and let's compile and run, we'll see that item 2 will be sorted and its printout is going to be 1 2 3 4 5. As you can see here, it's 1 2 3 4 5. So this is another very handy feature of arrays. And then the next one that I wanted to discuss is, let's say we want to copy these items 2 into items. How can we do it? We can use another arrays feature, copy of. So for copy of is we can use copy of. What it does, it copies a specified array, truncating or padding it with nulls if necessary, so that the copy has the specified length. So to simply put it, here if we have copy of, and after that what we want to do is we want to create a copy of items. So we give items 2. We want to create a copy of items 2, not items. And we want to create a copy with only 3 items out of the 5 we have here. Let me also comment this out. We don't want to sort it. And I want to assign it to new items. Now what I can do is I can print the new items here, and the new items should print 3, 2 and 1 because these are the 3 items we copied. So let me compile and then run, and we can see 3 to 1. Now if we give a length of 7, what is going to happen is it is going to copy the 5 from items 2, and for the last 2 it is just going to pad with default. So if we compile and run, we can see that it copied the 5 and then it padded the last 2 with default, and default for integer is 0. So this is another very handy feature of arrays, which is copy of. And the next one is mismatch. This is also a very interesting one. So if we do, so mismatch is going to find and return the index of the first mismatch between 2 object arrays. So if we do a mismatch and we want to find mismatch between, let's say, item 2 items and items 2, and here it's going to be an integer, it's not an array anymore, and here also we don't need array. Let's rename it to new item. Let's name it properly. So this is a mismatch item index, that's what it is. Let me save and print it. So if we compare these two, the first item is going to be itself mismatch, it is 3, whereas item has all 5. So it's going to print out 0 as the index as expected. Now if we change this here and make it 5, 5, now it's going to print the index as 2 because the first 2 is going to match. And you can see as expected it is printing 2. So these are few of very handy methods which is given by arrays to deal with some of the features of array. Now let's talk about multidimensional array. So far we looked into single dimensional array, and multidimensional array is when we declare an array with multiple dimensions. For example, if we declare here an array with 2 dimensions, we say new items, and here we can declare it a couple of ways. We can say new int of 2, 3. That's one way of declaring, or we can just assign the values. So we can do 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. And then if we want to print the item, we can create a couple of for loop and we can print the items for new items dot length, and inside of that we can have another for, and we can say int j is equal to 0, j less than new items of I dot length j plus plus, and after that we can do system dot out dot println, and we can just print new items of I and j. So this is going to print out the item of individual indexes. So it will print 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I go now and compile and run, you can see as expected it is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the next type of multi-dimensional array is called a jagged array. So jagged array is where the length of the second dimension is not static. So the second dimension is an array on its own, and it can be variable number. So for example, for the new items, if we have to declare it as jagged array, what we can do is here we can say new int of 3 and then empty, because we don't know what will be the number. And to declare this, there are a couple of ways to do it. So this is one way. The second way is we can go ahead and do like this, and we can say new int of array, and the first one has 1, 2, 3, and then new int array, the second one has 4, 5, and the third one is new int array 9. This is just one element. Or the simplest of all is we can just get rid of all these and we can declare it just with that. And in terms of printout, we can use the same loop and print all the item out. And if we do that, it's going to print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. And as expected, it printed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9. So this is how you can define a jagged array. There are situations where jagged array is going to be very useful, but in most cases, single dimensional array will do the job in day-to-day work, in occasionally multi-dimensional arrays. So that is all I wanted to cover for today's video, the features of array and some of the features of multi-dimensional array. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel and you think you are getting value out of this channel, please subscribe to this channel. And thanks so much for watching this video.